Good afternoon, students. It's good to have you once again. I want to believe that you've had a nice time with the previous classes we had. And I want to believe that you come back with optimism to get more. And so on this basis, I want to urge you to keep or come on board with your writing materials, like I always say. Make sure you have your writing materials, your pen and paper, or booklets to put down what you're going to be listening to and what you can learn from it. So let's go. This is an extension of our studies on the concepts of demand and supply. So the topic today is what? The theory of supply. Okay. Now, what do we call supply? What do we call supply? What is referred to as supply? Supply can be referred to as or defined as the quantity of a commodity that a producer is willing and able to offer for sale at the prevailing market price and at a particular time. Now, what makes it a supply? Please take notes. It's not because they have produced. Production volume is not the same thing as supply. Supply refers to that proportion, that quantity out of the total output that the sellers or producers have brought out or have offered for sale, right? That is what makes it supply. It is not the total output that was produced that represents supply, no. It is that quantity of a commodity that the producers are willing and able to offer for sale. The term there is what? Offer for sale at any particular time at the prevailing market price. That makes it what? Supply. So please take note of that. Anytime you're defining supply, make sure you remember to add offer for sale. That is the quantity that the producers have been able to offer for sale at the prevailing market price at any point in time. That's what we call supply. Fine. So what we're going to do is that we're going to do all this. Okay, we already defined supply. So we define schedules of supply and curves, and then we state the laws of supply as well as list and explain factors affecting supply, and then define price legislation, and then explain types of supply. So fine, let's go. You already know about supply. Now this picture you see here describes the supply curve. Okay? It describes what? A supply curve. It is what? It is an upward sloping curve from bottom left to top right. The supply curve is referred to as, or it can be described as, an upward sloping curve from bottom left to top right. So you can see it there. It may not necessarily be a straight line. It could be curved based on the variabilities in the figures, both in price and quantity supplied. So if the changes are not constant, it won't be a supply curve. I mean, it won't be a straight line curve. But if they are variable, they're changing inconsistently, you have a curved line, all right? So it is also referred to as a positively sloped curve. Why? Because the law of the supply says the higher the price, the higher the quantity was supplied. This makes it a positive relationship. The supply curve shows that price and quantity supply are in a positive what? Relationship, okay? That supply and price have what? A positive relationship. That's why we call it what? A positively sloped curve. As price rises, supply also what? Rises. That's why it is called a positively sloped curve. I hope you know that now. So yes, take down that note, very important. Okay. I've already mentioned it here. So you can see the law of supply. It says what? It's also known as what? The law. Okay, fine. Now, what's the law of supply? It says all things being equal, all right? That the higher the price, the lower the quantity supplied, and the lower the price, the higher the quantity supplied. Now, this we can call the first two laws of supply, okay? The first two laws of supply, the first part is the first law, second part is the second law, which says the higher price, higher quantity supplied, that's the first law. The lower price, lower quantity was supplied. That's the first two laws of supply. That's also applicable to demand. The first two laws are what? They lower the price, higher the quantity demanded, the higher the price, lower the quantity demanded. Okay, that's what we call the first two laws of demand and supply. Okay, so here, the aspect of supply says, all things being equal, the higher the price, the higher the quantity was supplied, and the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied. We call it the first two laws of supply. I don't want to go into the third law because that's not our topic for today. When we get there, we'll discuss it, all right? So we'll get there very soon. So this is what the law says, all right? This is applicable to the law. You can see as price moves from P1 to P2 going down, quantity supplied is going from Q1 to Q3 going backwards. That's what the graph tells you. That's what the law of supply is saying. Higher prices, higher supply, lower prices, lower supply. It's illustrated in this graph you can see here. So check it, you see it. That's exactly what the law is saying. And it's an upward sloping curve from bottom left to top right. That is what the supply curve is. Do not misinterpret it at all. And it's a positively sloped curve. So what is a supply schedule? This can be as a table showing the different quantities of a commodity that will be supplied at various prices in a given time period. Right? The table that shows the different quantities of a commodity that will be supplied at various prices at a given period of time. It can also be called or defined as a table showing the relationship between prices and quantities of a commodity supplied at a given period of time. There are two types of supply schedule, all right? Namely, individual supply schedule and market supply schedule, okay? Individual supply schedule and the market supply schedule, just two types. Now, why do we refer it as individual supply schedule? This is because it shows a record, all right, of different quantities of a commodity that one producer, all right, would offer for sale at various prices over a given period of time. A producer, all right, not all the producers, one individual producer or seller. That's quantity that he or she is willing and able to offer for sale at various prices over a set time is called an individual supply schedule. That is exactly what makes it an individual supply schedule. Okay. You can see this table. Say Mr. Femi's supply schedule is for egg is seen as below. At the right side of this table, you see a price in Naira. The left side you see the price, the right side you see the quantities in crates, all right, supplied. You see, as the prices are dropping, the quantities in crates supplied are also what? Dropping. If you're going upwards, as the prices are rising, the quantities are also what? Rising. For example, let's start from the base. When the price per crate was 20 Naira, how many was supplied? 10 units of the crates were supplied. When it becomes 40, 20 was supplied. At 60 Naira per crate, 30 was supplied. At 80 Naira per crate, 40 was supplied. And so 400 Naira per crate, 50 was supplied. Now, you know why? This is a natural phenomenon. It's not that we're just trying to put up these figures. You put yourself in the shoe of one who is in business, who sells, all right? Either you're producing or you're selling. You realize that the price of what you're selling is rising. Won't you want to sell more? That's natural, okay? So the drive to make profit will make producers and sellers to supply more when the prices are rising, so that they can cash in the rising price to make more profit. So that's exactly why the law of demand says that at higher prices, quantity supplied will increase of any commodity over a time. So yes, for Mr. Femi, this is his supply schedule. Higher prices brings about higher quantity supplied in crates for eggs that he sells. The next one is what? The market supply schedule. The market supply schedule is referred to as a table showing the different quantities of a commodity that all producers, all or suppliers of that commodity would offer for sale at various prices over a given period of time. This is also referred to as what? Aggregate supply schedule, composite supply schedule, and total supply schedule. Anyone it is referred to at any point in time, don't forget it's called what? Market supply schedule. It can be called what? Aggregate supply schedule, composite supply schedule, or total supply schedule. So take note, at any point in time, anyone that is used to express this particular item is referred to as what? It's referred to as market supply schedule. Okay? Yes. Below is an example of what we're saying. You can see that the table below is a market supply schedule where you have 3 suppliers of the same egg, all right? So, for example, you can see Mr. Femi, Mr. Obi, Mr. Eze, all right? These are 3 sellers or suppliers of egg in the market. They sell different quantities at the same price, okay? So, at the end, you see what? Total quantity supplied by all the producers or sellers of egg in the market at various times, okay? And that's what we call market supply schedule. When the sum of 2 or more suppliers' schedule makes up what? Total supply schedule, or aggregate supply schedule, or composite supply schedule, as the case may be, market supply schedule. So what are we not saying here? Mr. Femi supplied, we already don't have his own supply schedule. For Obi now, at 20 naira, he supplied 40 units. At 40 naira, he supplied 50 units. Sorry, Mr. Femi's number 1 is 10 units, not 1. It's an error there, so it's 10, not 1. Then, at 60 naira, he supplied 60. At 80 naira, he supplied 70 units. At 100 naira, he supplied 80 units. Then for Mr. Eze, at 20 naira, he supplied 10 units. At 40 naira, he supplied 20 units. 60 naira, he supplied 30 units. 80 naira, he supplied 50 units. And then at 100 naira, he supplied 70 units. Put together, the 3 of them are what makes up total market supply, all right, for the period. So if you sum it up, you see that when the price was 20 naira, you have 60 units supplied. That is 10 for Femi, 10 for Eze, and 40 for Obi. All right? Then when the price was 40 naira, you have 20 for Femi, you have 50 for Obi, and 20 for Eze, making what? 90 total market supply of crates of eggs. Then when the price was 60 naira, you have 30 for Femi, 60 for Obi, 30 for Eze, making 120 units of crate supplied. When the price was 80 naira, Femi supplied 40, Obi 70, Eze 50, giving us 160 total market supply. Then you have 100 naira as a price. Femi supplied 50, Obi 80, Eze 70, giving us 200 in total. This is the total market supply, composite market supply, and aggregate market supply, or total market supply, all right? Good, so you see now, this is what makes it market supply. So please take note. Now we move to supply curve. This same schedule can be used to what? Plot a supply curve, all right? It can be used to what? To plot a supply curve. Fine, let's look at the supply curve here. Now, what's the supply curve? It's a graph that shows the relationship between price and quantity of a commodity supplied. Okay? The graph, or a graph, all right, or a diagram that shows the relationship between the prices of a commodity and its quantity supplied over a period of time in the market. It can also be defined as what? A graphical or diagrammatical representation of this word supply schedule. Fine. you move the supply schedule into a graph, all right, with y and x-axis. That means you are drawing what? A curve. So this schedule represents what? Can be presented in a curve to show what? A supply curve. So take note that we'll come back to it. I'll try and show you how the supply curve is drawn. But let's finish up with this knowledge first. What are the factors that will affect or determine supply? Why? What are the things that will cause supply to happen, either to increase or decrease, either in quantity or in sales? So let's see. One of the factors that will affect supply is price of the commodity. Very, very important. I will try and separate these factors in two categories to give you a better understanding as we move forward. Now, the first part, I will term it number one there, which is price of the commodity. While the second part of this division of supply factors is the rest of the factors. Why am I saying this? Because they affect supply in two separate ways, all right? The price of the commodity, which is own price, will affect supply to cause what we call a change in quantity supplied, right? It will cause what? A change in quantity supplied. While the other factors, as you can see there, will cause what we call change in supply. You get that now? Change in what? Supply. So we have what? Price of the commodity, cost of production, government policy, level of technology, price of related commodities, number of producers, and natural disaster. There are more, but we can do with this for now, all right? So what do we say? Supply will be affected by price of the commodity. How? Like the law of the supply says, it says the higher the price, the higher the quantity that will be supplied of that commodity. So supply price, the quantity or the price of the commodity will cause a change in the quantity supplied of a particular commodity. Right? That is, the higher the price, the higher the quantity that will be supplied of that commodity. The lower the price, the lower the commodity, the quantity that will be supplied of that commodity. That's according to the law of supply. Then, coming down from the cost of production, the rest factors will cause a change in supply. We'll get to that place, all right? We cause what? A change in supply. So now, cost of production. I want to try and put yourself in the shoes of a producer right now so that when I'm explaining you, it makes sense to you. When you assume to be a producer of any commodity right now, put yourself in the shoe of a producer. Let's say you produce table water. You produce table water. Now, what happens? You normally produce maybe 1,000 units per batch, all right? Now, the cost of producing this increased by some amount of money. You don't have any source of capital to add to your business. It is from your present capital financially or money that you can use to produce from what you have. So when this cost increases, it will reduce your ability to produce at your normal rate. It's not true. So it will cut down on your total output. It might fall to 900 or thereabouts. It will no longer be 1,000 or anything less than 1,000. That means your supply has what? Reduced. Not because the price changed, but because what? But because the cost of production what? Increased. It will cut down on your total output. Right? That's why we call it change in supply. Not because the price changed, but what? Other factors that will affect supply changed. All right? So that's what we call cost of production. So it causes what? A change in supply. A shift of the supply curve to a new position, either to the left or right of the original supply curve. That's what we call a change in supply, all right? It means that at the same old price, not price changing, at the same old price, more or less of a commodity will be sold or will be supplied, okay? That's what we call a change in supply. Now, government policy is the next factor that will affect supply. Yes, in this case, government can employ any of the tools to make this happen. If we consider it in the aspect of taxation, all right? If government decides to tax a particular commodity more, what will happen? The cost of production will rise and it will fall in supply. In that case, tax has actually affected production, all right? That will reduce supply in general. That's why government policy can affect. If you want to look at it from the aspect of subsidy, all right? Government can provide subsidy to production that will help government producers to produce more because it will reduce cost of production for them. So whichever we look at it, all right, it can either increase cost of production or reduce it based on what action the government is taking. Even with the same taxation, government can reduce taxes on any product to help it produce more, to increase production, all right? That means supply will also what? Increase. So yes, level of technology is another factor that can cause supply to either increase or decrease. Like I said, from the second factor there down to the last, they will all cause a change in supply, not a change in quantity supply, all right? So level of technology will cause change in supply in the sense that if a producer is still battling with an obsolete technology, it will reduce his or her supply output supply, all right? But if you have decided to go for an advanced technology, which will reduce cost per unit and increase total output, even though to cost them more to acquire it at the time, what happens? Supply will always what? Increase. So an advanced or latest technology employed by any producer will increase what? Total output, and then thereby increase what? Total supply in the market. But an obsolete technology will affect supply negatively to reduce what? Its supply in the market. So yes, that's how what? It affects supply. Then price of related products or commodities. This is the case of either complements demand, or sorry, goods of complement or goods of substitutes, all right? Now, a related price of commodity will affect supply in either way, okay? Products that are jointly supplied, all right, when the cost of production increases, all right, what will happen? It will reduce output, okay? It will reduce output. When the cost of production drops, it will increase what? Total output and supply in general too. So that's how it affects what? Supply. The number of producers. The larger the number of producers, the higher the supply. The fewer the number of producers, the lesser the supply. Total supply, right? That's how this one also what? Affects supply. Natural disasters will effectively halt production. When there is natural disaster, producers will be halted, all right? Their productive activities will be at a halt because either that electricity or power supply will be cut off or the environment will not be conducive for production. So it will cause production to stop for a while until they restore normalcy, okay? Without that, natural disaster will definitely cause what? A shortfall in supply, okay? That's how these factors affect what? Supply. Okay. Price legislation as one of the things we need to consider under this topic, even though it's not part of supply. Now, what is price legislation? Because it takes us to the next subject or topic we're going to look at. What is price legislation? It is known as price control policy by the government. When you hear price legislation or price control, it refers to government action in maintaining price, in keeping price stable or keeping at a particular level or state. When government comes into the issue of price, it is called what? Price control or price legislation. It's a process by which the government or its agencies control or regulate or fix price of essential commodities in the country. For example, in Nigeria case, petroleum products. Okay? Currently, the government, though we're not too sure, but currently the government's NNPCs or government-owned institutions that operate in this business are selling fuel for around 8,000 naira, which automatically becomes what? The price limit. Now it's called what? It is called the maximum price, all right? Maximum price or price ceiling, all right? So that it means that nobody can sell above that price. It favors what? Consumers in general. So the highest anybody can sell price according to the government's rule or policy is that fuel should not be sold for more than 8,000 naira per liter. You can sell anything below it, but don't sell more than 8,000 naira. It is set above, so it is set below the equilibrium price. It is set what? Usually set below the equilibrium price, and it makes supply to reduce and makes consumers to buy more, all right, because the price has fallen. It's not true? Yeah, that makes it so. Now, what are the objectives of price legislation? What are the objectives of price legislation? Number one is to prevent consumers from being exploited by producers, making sure that they sell at an agreed or useful price. Okay? That they sell at agreed or useful price or affordable price to the consumers. Number two, to control or prevent inflation. If the government comes in to legislate on price, it helps to stabilize price at a particular rate, without which anybody can sell at any price, and they will allow inflation to fall in or to creep in. That particular act of the government helps to stabilize price at a certain price rate or level. Now, number three is to help low-income earners to survive, to be able to acquire or buy some of their essentials. Remember, it is done on essential products that you cannot live without in a particular day or on daily basis. So it will help you to be able to acquire, all right, your basic needs. Okay? Now, it also helps to control the monopolistic practices of producers, for them not to be able to exploit the situation in the market to make it favorable to them against the masses. It helps to reduce monopolistic practices in the market. So by government doing that, it will tell the producer, the monopolist, you have to stay at this price or something like that, you'll not be able to sell. It also helps to prevent price fluctuations, especially in agricultural products or produce. So the government helps to stabilize price by tagging prices of producers at the minimum possible price. That means you can sell at a price not less than the pegged price. The minimum price for it is actually set above the equilibrium price to help producers to sell and make profits and be able to continue production. All right? So it's called minimum price or price floor, which is set above the equilibrium price of the market. All right? Then we have to stabilize the income of some producers. That is to help income earners or producers to have stable income, especially the farmers. All right? This helps them out to have stable income as they go into production. And the last one is for economic development. This particular act helps to stabilize the economy of the nation. All right? At this point, I want to thank you for being with me, all right, for listening to me. I'm sure that by now you must have been well informed and you're happy to hear what I've told you about supply, all right, its types and the schedules, all right, supply schedule and so on. So thank you for listening to me. I pray that you study hard and be able to understand what you've learned. Then please don't forget to always, all right, to always use your ExamGuide app for revision 6, okay? Try and apply and subscribe to our ExamGuide app for continuous studies. God bless you. Now let's look at some questions as a summary to what we have done, okay? Let's go through these few questions to establish what we've done so far. All right, so let's see. I've just started with them. In what I've taught you here, if you can remember, this question says what? It says an increase in production subsidies. An increase in production subsidy will do what? It will what? It will shift what? The supply curve to the right. Why? Because a shift of the supply curve is times what? An increase in supply. All right? That means subsidies will help increase total output. All right? So the answer is what? It will shift the supply curve to the right. Okay? So option A is the correct answer.